So, as we continue the fun with the, I think it's an 866 Programmer we looked at in a previous video where I was shipped not only the wrong unit, but I believe a clone and not actual device. I pursued getting the correct programmer from the actual manufacturer, and hopefully that's what's in the box today. So, let's go ahead and look at opening this and see what we've got inside. So as we saw in that last video, I ordered the programmer off of Amazon, thinking I might have a better shot at getting something that was not a clone. And of course that proved to be incorrect. And then after research, came across a vendor on eBay that claimed to be an authorized distributor. It's already looking better, the box looks correct. You know, they were listed as an authorized distributor. And so from that, I trusted it. I went to the manufacturer or the programmer's website. They listed that vendor as an authorized distributor. So at the moment, right now, things are looking much better compared to where we were in the last video. So it's a TL866II Plus. It's their latest generation universal programmer. It came with a little happy day something here, which I appreciate. I'd like this to be a happy day. Not exactly sure it's a little bag full of luck. Hopefully I'm not going to need luck today. Hopefully this will just be a nice successful day. That's very nice. Chinese knots, one of the elegant and colorful folk arts and crafts, are used as gifts given among friends and relatives for personal portable accessories. They symbolize all good luck, happiness, sweet love, etc. Nice. So, asking me to, of course, give them positive feedback, which, if everything checks out here, I will. In the knockoff one, if you remember, I got a bag in the mail that basically had a box with the programmer in it and had all the adapter modules just kind of in other little bags and loose, and the pins were all beat up and bent, and it was just quite a mess. So I'm already pleased to see this is at least packaged decently. We have the little programmer itself. This all looks good. It's the right TL866II Plus. It's got the ISP header on it. I did see, as I researched these, that the XGECU Pro seemed to be, XGECU again on the back, seemed to be the manufacturer perhaps. Not sure what else is in here. Oh, it's full of adapters. Oh, nice. ISP header. Set some of this out of the way. We'll look at the build quality on some of these. This is for getting at a like a BIOS ROM on a motherboard kind of thing where you can get down on the chip. That's nice. I'm happy with the quality of that. The little clip feels nice. We've got various adapters here. Oh, and nice. These are actually silkscreen better. You know, 27C64 through 27C512. PLCC32 to DIP28 converter. So, those are nice. Get one out of the foam here. I don't see any bent pins this time. The pins are nice and parallel. The soldering looks more reasonable than on the clone. No surprise. Already happier with what I'm seeing here. Very similar to the other one. There's a jumper on it. Closed 5 volts, open 3.3 volts. So for setting the programming or the device voltage. Okay, I'm already much happier with that. I'm assuming this is a warranty card of some kind. There's of course instructions on the top of the box here that I can't read. But what they're basically telling me is to go to this autoelectric.cn website and download the driver software for the system. This is full of well-packaged little adapters. Again, if you remember in that first one, then what I called the fail video, the everything was loose and beat up, and there was no real time spent trying to package it in any way reasonable. Let's go ahead and see if we can remove the plastic from this and take a look at what we've got. Much happier with the packaging. Quality of the little ZIF sockets feels adequate. I'm not going to be doing anything high volume, so everything looks to move nice mechanically. Again, the soldering's acceptable. I'm sure it's lead free, and that's why it's not as shiny as I would like, but again, I'm pretty sure it's lead-free solder. Looking at the color, the pins are reasonably straight. I'm not unhappy with that at all. Nope. Pretty happy so far. Well, let's take a look in this, because this is, I'm assuming, where the adapters I actually bought this for are going to be. Again, somebody spent some time to actually package stuff well. Yes, packaged well for transit. They actually thought about it. Nothing has been damaged. Looks like I don't see bent pins. And the price of this really wasn't that different from the quote clone that I ended up with. That the quality of everything was just kind of meh. TSOP 3240 adapter. So many of these little adapters. I believe this here is the TSOP 48. I believe this is the adapter I'm after for what it is I want to do. TSOP 48-bit. That's a Grundy socket SOP 44. A lot of spring tension there. And 08. I'm sure as I pick devices, the software will tell me what adapter or adapters to put together. Like I say, I do believe this is the one I'm after for some little flash memory modules. Certainly nice and tight. And this card would, of course, goes down into the programmer. Don't quite want to sit flush in there, not that it matters. That's interesting. It doesn't want to sit down flush. It makes plenty good contact in there. And there's an adapter card that'll go onto here. It's custom made for the stuff I want to program. We'll dive into that in a different video. Anyhow, not unhappy with this at all. I'm much more positive about the build quality here, the general feel of everything. This all seems reasonable. You know, it seems very reasonable. The little programmer seems reasonable. Wow, it's a lot of adapters. We'll have to come up with a little case to store this thing in. We've got a couple different programmers. Don't know if this one will become my primary or not, but well, haven't powered it up yet, so let's make the mistake here and open it and just take a look at the construction quality inside while I'm on camera. Throw a Phillips in there, that'll work. Looks like that guy. It's a little nut, or a little set of bits that I got for Christmas from a friend. It actually seems surprisingly nice for what they are. Yeah, even the plastic here feels nicer than the plastic on that clone. Whether that's just me or it really is, I don't know. It just feels a little better. Take a look at what we've got. Now, the first things I notice is this has got the right number of slits here in it, according to their diagram, 6. It doesn't have the little casting peg things inside that the other one had. Electrically, you know, this looks like the construction quality is decent. This socket itself is socketed on this. That was one of the things they said, so you can replace it if you wear it out. You know, it's an Aries, at least that's what the label says, so they're not trying to be a textile knockoff. It feels decent. Again, I won't be doing production volumes on this. You know, power management section over here, various DC to DC converters. No idea what the chip is. Like I said, the part number's ground off. I'm sure that's intentional. Well, of course it's intentional. I don't know, build quality looks good to me. It seems much more reasonable than that clone I returned. Not unhappy at all with it so far. Of course, the real tell will be when I go down and apply power. Not quite a big enough Phillips tip. Better screwdriver for these. That's sized much better. Maybe. Not unhappy with this at all. So I guess we'll get down on the computer, get the software loaded, and give it a play. So we're down on my main development machine, and I'm looking for the software and manual for the 866II Programmer. There's a couple different websites. Looks like you can get the software on. There's the xgecu.com. Here that is the same as the manufacturer name on the device, and on the back of the device there's a URL as well, which is this URL. It looks like you can also get the software on the XG Auto Electric site. It looks to all be really the same stuff. So I've gone ahead, downloaded the English manual and the application software, and it's sitting here in this folder. I've unzipped the RAR file here to get the install bits, but the first thing let's do is take a look at the manual that it comes with. Let me scroll back up the top here, and we'll just take a quick peek through. It's basically, information here that it's good from WinXP through Win10, 32 or 64-bit. And they say it's suitable for small batch programming. It may be. Initial support of 15,000 plus chips, microcontrollers, PIC series, etc., etc. NAND flash, there's a whole bunch of stuff here, up to 8 gigabytes or 8 gigabits. 25 series NOR flash, up to 512 megabits. It's apparently got this pin contact check feature that'll detect bad contacts in the ZIF socket. So it's the smallest volume, etc., etc. Only the size of a driver's license. Well, it's bigger than a driver's license here in the U.S., but that's okay. Programmable VCC from 1.8 to 6.5 and VPP from 1.8 to 18. So VCC is the operational voltage for the device, and VPP is programming voltage. So it's got a really nice range. I think this is the lowest VCC voltage programmer I have, so it'll deal with a lot of the much more modern stuff. Not too worried about being able to program in serial numbers during programming. It supports an ISP interface, of course, which is nice. It can test ICs. How good that really is or isn't, I don't know, but I've never actually tried to test it. It does say there's a test arbitrary possible input combinations. That's kind of interesting. And it's got a pretty broad series of ROM, EEPROM, etc. support, TSOP 32, 40, and 48 to 64 megabits, which is nice. That's actually in the range of what I wanted it for. A note here is VPP only goes to 18 volts. If you get back to really older EEPROMs, 2716s, 2732s, back in that era, they traditionally used 25 or 21 volts for VPP. This device can't program them. I do a fair amount with hardware using ROMs that old. I have a couple other EEPROM programmers that can deal with those devices specifically. It's possible to find, well, that may not be true. I'm thinking you can find later 2732s that use a lower VPP. I'm not sure. You'd have to check on that. Anyhow, all kinds of just information here. Apparently can do SRAM testing. So, you know, they make the claim again, development type programmer to really test common logic ICs to test for errors. I wish I'd held on to a few of the bad devices I've had over the years to extra drop in here. So I've gone to their website. I've downloaded the installer and the English manual, which we're looking at here. So click install to start the application. The following screen will pop up. Of course, it comes up. It wants a place to install it to. Wants us to lay down the USB driver, install manually, it looks like. Is this all for Win 7 or is this... No. We may have to manually install the USB drivers. I'm going to assume they're signed. I think this is actually the same software I downloaded previously that came back and said my device was a clone. So anyhow, there's the instructions here. I've got the software downloaded. Let's go in and go ahead and run the setup. As I recall, we do get an AV warning here. Maybe we won't. Let's see. This here, it may automatically install the device drivers. So yeah, it wants to install the USB drivers automatically, so I'm going to tell it can go ahead and do so. They were installed. Apparently they're signed. I didn't get a do you not trust, do you want to trust these? The signed drivers are always a good sign. So it's been installed. Let me go ahead and find the software. For now, I'm going to just, it's good enough. Let's go ahead and plug the device in. If I can find the USB lead here. Sorry, I don't have a second camera set up, but I'm just going to go ahead and plug in the USB cable. The red light came on, which is the power light, and the run light blinked for a bit and then stopped. So let's go ahead and run the software. Please refresh firmware. So we went through this before. Select main menu tools. So main menu tools, reflash firmware. Tools, reflash firmware. Now this is a good sign. It says it did see it, and it's updating the firmware on the programmer. This is where I got into issues before with the clone, where after this it didn't recognize it. Reflash firmware successful. I guess we're safe to click cancel there. I'm going to unplug the device. You can see there on the screen, hardware interface version, no device. Let's go ahead and plug the device back in. So we flash the firmware and restart it. It found it instantly. Nice. I've actually got a device here we can read. Let me, if I can get it out of the, it's a 23C2100. So let's go ahead and do select device. So where's I haven't used this software before. Search and select ICs. 23C2100. It didn't seem to let me try 27C. So what I've got is a set of Amiga Workbench 3.0 ROMs here. They're in a one-time programmable package, and it's labeled 23C2100. And typically when you see a 23C number like that, it's actually an EEPROM, only it's in a plastic package for one-time programming. So I can get the pin out here of the device, really just by searching 27C2100. We just won't try to program it. The device brand is MX. I don't see it here. For my purposes, it really shouldn't matter. I like the fact they all say DIP 40. I am working with the DIP 40. So let's just go ahead and pick 27C210. That's not what we want. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I'm not seeing a 27C210A. Well, let's just pick one and see what if we can read the device. So, device, read, pin detected error. So I don't think it's the correct pinout for these devices. Well, that's kind of a shame. Immediately up front that it wouldn't support that device. Shoot. Select. Well, that's a shame that we don't see that device. Well, looking for another device here just to play with for a minute. I know we can't program a 27C16. But let's see if we can read one. This is, well, so and the question becomes, it looks like it goes all the way to the top of the socket. Let's go ahead and read this. Good. So that's exactly how I've got it in the socket. Well, it read something. I'm going to assume this is correct. This is the F8 ROM image out of an Apple II. So we did actually read something. In this case, if this was a device compliant with this here, you could actually program it. Like I say, it won't go to 25 volts, but basic functionality looks to be here. If I got any other, a lot of these devices are erased. I've got a huge box of EEPROMs off camera here. Some of which have been erased, some haven't. Well, I'm really not sure there's any more I can demonstrate here at this point. The software's loaded. It didn't complain. It seems to me, to be an actual version of the device and not one of the clones, which is, but in that previous video, besides getting the wrong programmer delivered to me, it was also a clone, which was just a mess. So far, this looks like it works okay. File. Do projects, blank checker, serial number, tools. Now let's do a system self-check. Remove IC on ZIF socket. I've done that. So it did VPP testing on 9, 10, 30 on a series of pins, and then VCC on a series of pins. Ground drive. Looks like it was for all the pins. Yeah, it looks like that all passed. Well, not sure what more I can actually say about this. You know, the hardware looks good. Software installed without an issue. Didn't get any kind of warnings about or AV warnings like I did with the older software for the other version of the Programmer. So I like not seeing AV warnings. I'm a little disappointed that I'm not finding C2100, anything that has a hit on that. 27C21, and see, I've only got 210s here, not 2100s. 2001. And let's just, obviously a device that isn't covered here. I should actually be able to use, now that I think about it, a 27C400. If I can find one. C240, 4001. Lots of 4000s. Now let's see if that'll read. Device read. Obviously that didn't read. So I think that device is no, certainly the wrong device. Well, shoot. I'm really not having a good run here. Well, sorry for boring you so much here. I'm really not finding a couple of different parts that I expected to find here, but that's okay. I think actually, you know, the parts I'm looking for are rather old, and this is really for a little more modern devices. The next step here is I've got some flash plugins to replace the ROMs in my Amiga that we'll be attempting to program with this. So that'll be coming up. So I'll end this here and we'll talk soon.